You guys good?
Already? Start with the opening statement, Coach.
Good ball game, challenging, difficult. A lot to unpack there offensively in the areas that we clearly need to fine-tune some things. I thought we pitched fairly well start to finish. I thought Wes was sharp. You're talking about 4 or 5 good pitches. I thought we talk a lot about the big miss and eliminating that, and he got some quick early outs, early in counts. Sometimes when you see his count start to deepen, obviously the pitch count's going to go right with that. But I thought he did a nice job of navigating. I thought he found himself in some trouble consistently and was able to make big pitches and get some strikeouts to reset the inning. He did that 3, maybe 4 times. Even the comebacker, the ball that was chopped off the plate, and make that play and handle that, he was able to control the game, not stacking multiple situations for himself. And that's how you extend outings, and that was right where we needed to be with the pitch count. We didn't add to what they had done in practice. We wanted to hold serve and let them do that in the game, and now we can build from there. I thought Abraham threw the ball pretty well, like different stuff. Sink, the curveball was good, and to be honest, we should have handled the ball in the middle. The ball that got through the middle, I think they miscommunicated on that ball. That ball should not leave the infield. In a perfect world, that might be a double play, but at least you're getting one out of it. And Chase made a beautiful play to throw the ball to third. I'm surprised. It looked like, to me, he might have been out, but clearly they have a look. I've never seen it, but a good play nonetheless by Chase. And then they scored on the strikeout, I believe, that got away. And Carnes did a nice job. You know, some of those blocks, you hope you can contain it, but I thought he battled back there. And again, we've scrimmaged. I don't know that he's caught a full 9-inning game in practice, and he had been banged up, so that's part of it. Purcell, you can see the unique profile with the release height, the combination of that and the carry on the fastball is pretty unique. He had that going. Changeup was good. His secondary breaking pitches were fine. It's fun to have Miles start his season like that. Everybody has high expectations of him and the scouting community as well, and there's probably a lot on his mind and on his plate right now that most players don't experience. To start your season with pitch 1, hitting a ball like that, and to get that first home run out of the way, I thought that was huge. Clearly in the game, but there's bigger things than just that in terms of his development. So I thought that was good. DeLamalure drove that ball to right center like we've seen. And then stacking the walk Chase with the beautiful bunt, and then Sheffield, that was a game-changing moment. I felt like I almost caught him off guard there. It took him so long, and he might have iced the pitcher and the catcher. I think we balked there, and that was a big moment for him. And I trusted him to put a ball in play, and we needed that. And I've seen him do that in some of our fall games and obviously scrimmages. So that was a cool moment for him, and that extended things, and the game had a different feel once we plated those. I guess it was 3 runs.
Why was Noah the choice for pinch hitter?
I can't tell you that. It felt like the right thing to me. I've talked to you guys about the lineup, and it was difficult, and it took me to noon today to figure out what I want to do. And then there's other parts of it that I want to investigate, that being one. And, whether they want to make a maneuver or not, I trusted Chef to put the ball in play, especially with the lefty. And then our assistants do such a good job with the scouting report that I think when they made the move to the righty, he was thinking the right way in terms of how to approach the at-bat, and it just seemed like a gut maneuver that I wanted to make to give him a shot there because I trust him.
You touched on West getting out of a couple troublesome innings. Mentally, he talked a lot about how he worked through the offseason. I feel like that was a part of his game last year. Things kind of started to spiral. How good was it to see him just stay calm, get those punch outs like you talked about?
Well, the self-contained relief, we call it, you have to be your own relief pitcher if you're going to start and get through games. If you can't manipulate what's going on to hold things at bay, it's hard to be a competitive starting pitcher at this level. And it revolves around pitch execution, number one. So if something has stunned you and you get punched, you have to be able to regroup yourself and execute and repeat and execute and execute your way out of the mess. And he did that. And if you fail to execute and get yourself in a problem and stack a lack of pitch making, then you're going to find yourself with crooked numbers on the board, and you're not going to be able to relieve yourself of the problems that were created. And that was a good example of what you have to do to start.
Give their pitchers some credit, or do you question the approach in some guys just first game?
I really question the approach, and there was a lot of secondary pitches. And to their credit, like, they used their secondary pitches well, and they knew what they were doing going through it. So their pitchers clearly did a good job. I was disappointed in the cultivation of like getting into some good counts and not having anything to show, and balls off the end of the bat. And at some point, you have to make an adjustment to how this feels and how you're being pitched. And we were trying to help them through it a little bit in the dugout with the number of secondary pitches, but that was difficult to watch at times. And I think we have stuff that's comparable to that on our staff, and we've seen it. But they pitched well, and they kept their secondary pitches down. They used some good cutters. Like, their starter had a good cutter, good changeup. The lefty had a slider that seemed to be giving us problems, the first lefty. So, yeah, we've got to grow through some of this. That's a concern. I wasn't expecting it to feel that ill-equipped to manage the in-game at bat. I think we'll be better from it, but maybe the first game and being excited could have had some factor into it. But yeah, there's no doubt that was concerning.
You like the way just opening with JMU, just the pressure they put on you. It just seems like so many times you're having to deal with things.
Yeah, they throw everything at you, and it's good for the team, and we try to work on that. But the magnitude of it, in a Wednesday afternoon practice in the middle of January is a lot different than when you're in front of a packed stadium and the Marching Chiefs open this thing up, and here we go, and we're in an absolute grinder. And we showed them all of the different ways they use the short game and the run game, and it pressures you, and it forces you to handle and manage and control the game, and it's hard, and that's part of their game, and they'll be out here tomorrow doing it again. So we have to, again, one way to do it is you have stuff that can punch people out, and if you can extend the lead, it's not quite as threatening because you're in a one-run game the whole time. So there's ways around it, but they are good at it.
Coach, although his time was short, John Abraham, I know he had the wild pitch in the game, but overall, how do you feel about his performance, and what are some things that you feel like forward with?
I thought it was good, honestly. He's got the good heavy sinking fastball. The velocity was up. He can ram a four-seamer. I thought he threw some good curveballs, and I thought he threw some good changeups. And he was kind of built to throw longer as we went through the preseason, and then we had a little setback. Not any injury, but we had to stop building pitch count. So I thought it was fine, and those are some tough blocks, and you could tell when the hitter chases something that's that low and it's also that hard to block. It tells you the spin and the action on that curveball that he was throwing. I thought his changeup was really good too to the lefties.
Purcell also an emotional guy.
Yes, we've talked about this. Now, for him, you don't usually see that sort of thing in practice, but the velocity was up, and he's been in this situation before. Like, he's a reliever, and he's seasoned, and he likes that entrance and that adrenaline, and I hadn't seen as many threes. We saw a handful of 93s, but the profile of the fastball with that release height, probably more impactful than the velocity, but it's good to see the velocity. And he threw some good changeups and some good breaking balls. So, a good performance. I think the double play, I can't remember what inning that was in, but that was a big moment. I think Purcell got that ground ball. Was it Abraham or Purcell? The 5-4-3. Yeah, that was a big moment. I thought for the most part we played clean. The ball in the corner, defensively to start the game, I think that was a changeup that West kind of left in the middle. That was a really good play by Dowd. Fisher, a couple good plays. McCulley to end the game. The 5-4-3 was beautiful. So clean enough. The throw from Carnes that got into left center field, I don't think we got quite around the bag enough to get up the line and make sure we caught it and trying to hang in there right on the bag. But yeah, all in all, clean enough.
Coach Gabe Frazier got the nod at second base. What do you see from him, at the plate and up the middle between him and Cal?
Well, the double play pivot that you saw is what I enjoyed the most about what I saw him do in the preseason, and a capable shortstop. I'm sure he could play third if need be, but he's very toolsy, and Fisher is steady and very savvy and gets incredible jumps on the ball and throws with some arm strength and accuracy. Frazier moves laterally real well and has tremendous finish. Farrow had that finish. It's hard to finish that throw to first base on the double play like he did. His feet work well, and I like the looks of that. And I think Frazier's going to do some things at the plate. He can really, really run. Some of this, I think, is just growth and comfort with what's going on more than anything in this environment for the first time for him.
Coach, Chase Williams beating out that play on the bunt single to load the bases. How important is that speed in the middle of the play?
That's beautiful. And as soon as Carnes walked, I'm like, all right, now we can do something. I was failing to do enough offensively to help them, but there were moments in the game where I didn't feel like we could run. And then Miles is up, and if Stutzer runs there, or if Dowd is in motion, and I wanted them to have to pitch to Miles, and I'm going to have to learn how to manage that a little bit and what's going on around him. But when the game provides an opportunity to do some of the things that the players do well, I'm going to try to do it. And there's not a better example in that ball game of that. It's just unbelievable dynamic burst that he has down the line, and we needed it at that moment. And they're in a position. They defended that play, but you just don't have to defend it that quickly very often, if ever.
You touched on McCulley at third, making that play at the end, had a double play as well. I know it probably wasn't the night at the plate he wanted, but he's been a guy who's been patient, waited his turn. How good was it to see from him?
The plays were beautiful. And I think if you asked him the other one that kind of got off his glove down the line, I think he'd tell you he'd make that play. But he's rangy, quick, good arm action and release. The at-bats will come. Again, I think it's in some capacity just comfort with what this feels like. And he's going to have to get through that a little bit, because we see damage and authority off the bat in our scrimmages in practice, and he's got to just relax and let it fly a little bit and get comfortable with this in the game. But he played a nice defensive game.
Coach, did you take any moment tonight and just bask in the beauty of baseball being back, fourth year as the head coach of the Seminoles here at Hauser, full house?
When Sheffield hit the ball, I relaxed a little bit. The marching chiefs in front of the dugout, their willingness to provide that dimension to this. I stood out there before we started and looked at all the things we're trying to do. You have a new scoreboard and sound system. We'll figure the volume level out for everybody, but clearly, what an upgrade just in the experience of listening to what's going on. I would think it sounded PA-wise better. We didn't really, so it's massive. And the university had to partner with us to get that online and paid for and installed in time to play. Some of the things we've done up top, you probably don't notice all the different things we try to do to clean up and freshen up the suites, and then what was going on in the green space out there to have the kids that can come in the stadium and then go out into Hauser Green and throw the ball and run around and bounce around. And the parents are in here, and your kids can go out and enjoy some things there. So I tried to soak it in, but honestly, like you were concerned as this game played out that this was not going to play out in our favor today. And once Chef got that hit, you felt like there was a little more stability in the game and some control. So I breathed a little bit, but I did, to your point, try to soak in some of the things that we've done, and hopefully the team continues to ratchet this thing up.
Hey, Coach, that home run hit by Miles Bailey, would you say that home run is a coincidence by hitting him? What would you say about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the first pitch of the season for the guy, and he hits it 400. The machine, I think, said 425, but the machine has botched so many of his home runs. Nothing against the TrackMan. It's just such a unique exit velocity and spin. I felt like that set more than 425 tone to me. I think he hit it 116 miles an hour. So that's setting a pretty good tone. And we just need to provide him, there needs to be action around him too. Dowd will find ways on base, and Stutzer, whatever we do at the top, it's going to come for him. So there's some people out there more often. But yeah, that's a great tone for his season and for the team.
Any other questions?